this webinar, we will be completely focusing on radiated EMI because uh, many times conducted EMI challenges can be taken care by just placing EMI filter inside the design. Okay, so just to give you a very short idea of what kind of EMI challenges one would see in the design. Let's say, let me take first example of, okay. So a conductor EMI challenges now can be taken care by having any basic pi filter inside the design. So you have designed your application circuitry, okay, and now uh, any noise, okay, generated within the design. Let's say you have some system working in a let's say in a same room, okay, and these are basically high speed designs which are switching at high speed at high edge rates. Now this is connected to a single line. When I say single line, that your home appliances are connected to a single line, single power line like this. So whatever the noise generated inside the system will travel back through a power line or a ground reference of your power line, and then that is injected to a different system or close by system. Okay, this is one of the example of conducted EMI. Now, to avoid this noises, what one would do is one would have an pi filter in a place which will reject a lot of noises, which will be basically your LC circuits, okay, and something like capacitor with inductor, and then you have this form where there are many topologies possible, and you would easily get these components directly available as EMI filters. So connected EMI challenges can be directly avoided by just having an EMI filter in place, okay, wherein radiated EMI is something one would need to understand properly in order to see how your energy is radiated within the layout. So let me talk about having radiated EMI in your layout design. So some of the common causes of EMI would be traces, which is crossing plane splits. Okay, so in a layout you will have power plane and ground references laid out. Okay, and now you'll find there are lots of power islands. Let's say your design would require more than 5 to 10 different supply rails. Okay, in order to make sure that all supplies are well placed and reaching to the component, you would see that in order to organize such a such power rails, you will have different islands which will present splits. Likewise, there will be areas which will also see breakdown in a plane, or plane in a sense power plane as well as ground references. Traces which are referencing to wrong voltages. So in a situation where you have done a high speed routing for, let us say, 1.2 volt, let's say you have 1.2 bus interface available, and beneath that you have laid out one of the power line which is corresponding to 2.5 volt or 3.3. Okay, so the one challenge it would be this, and then the other challenges are wires without nearby transitions, wires and caps. Okay, so we will talk about how these basically radiates energy, these challenges, and we will have couple of examples to go through on hyperlinks essay. So what they do all have in common? The very common thing in this that the current is not traveling in a closed loop. Okay, there will be possibilities that once you have trace crossing plane, the current return current would see some kind of deviation. Okay, and which will basically cause radiated EMI to take in. What is the solution for such challenges? Such challenges can be avoided by making sure that you have formed a proper current loop. Let's first try to understand what is the current loop seen in a transmission line with respect to high-speed designs. So, in a high-speed design environment, your let's okay, in a high-speed design environment, you would see that you have a power plane, and then the IC's internal output stages are the ICs are connected to power planes and also its output stages, which is driving your transmission line. So now when the transitions happen from, let us say, let's put the condition now from 0 to 1. So the current is drawn from the power plane, which again goes to the pull down or pull up structure of your output stages. Okay, and then it is fed out to a transmission line. A transmission line will now start coupling electromagnetic field to nearest power planes and ground planes. So, and then your signal would go to a receiver point, and from receiver down to the ground plane, and then from ground plane it will go back to the ground pin. Okay, so during this period the current traveling at transmission line will be known as incident current, wherein the current which is traveling back is known as resulting current or return current, right? In high speed design, signal travels through a mode called transversal electromagnetic mode. Okay, and the energy which basically couples to the your power plane would go by decoupling caps or by bypass capacitors, and again it goes back to your ground pin. So this is the way you will have a current loops formed inside your layout designs. So at higher frequencies, current is transferred through electromagnetic fields. So in any and all condition, okay, uh, one would one would see electromagnetic field between these two references. Well, in this case, when the signal is transmitting, you will see a magnetic field and electric field getting coupled to your power planes. Okay, during the whole traveling time, and as long it travels, the current will be tail off. Okay, so potential of plane doesn't matter here. Most of the energy will be coupled to the nearest hunks of metal. Now, so far what we know that is transmission line sees or have a property of have electrical property which is known as propagation delay, and also known, and there's one more property which is also known as uh, characteristic impedance. Now, a characteristic impedance in a transmission line is not just respect to transmission line, it is also respect to plane. So trace characteristic impedance plus plane characteristic impedance is what makes your transmission line. Now these will be